the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
Obusia for your bed ni Akko High Court, the General Jurisdiction 2, newly constituted High Court, Supreme Court, and man 2 means on the Mandamus application for the 4 constituencies. Now from 12 o'clock na Bibrina Adani Omeni Akko High Court a year train ruling, breaking story ayensa can say the High Court judge the ruling about, but ruling first one abano regarding the tema central. It means that as the day goes on, obey in Chichemu rulings beba for the various constituencies. One can't ruling in na ambum for all the constituencies. It ever started with that for the tema central. The High Court General Jurisdiction Division 2, presided by the learned Justice Forson in Japan, has granted the Mandamus applications brought by Charles Forson, the New Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate for Tema Central, against the Electoral Commission for the collation and declaration of the election results. Inti the entire best judge say each of the parliamentary candidates adding evidence by based on their course in the coalition center. Yebekaya AB Bright the evidence attached here, video declarations because but I will share the arguments of lawyer Gary Nimakoma for now. One of the strong arguments already and say that said declaration was not by the returning officer of the Electoral Commission. In TN also, the Honorable Court heard argument for and against the applications by the learned Gary Nimakoma for the applicants, Godwin Tamaklo Esquire for the interested parties, which are the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidates and the party itself, and the learned and respected Justice Justin Amenufo for the respondent of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And so one more mujina bedroom a year argument, 3 councils, 1 Gary Nimakoma for the New Patriotic Party, and the interested parties are Supreme Court for the ruling by say first Mandamus application that the New Patriotic Party and a parliamentary candidates they call Omasreso NASA or interested parties and yet part of that discussions and arguments they were not heard into or quashe so decision or start to share Mandamus application as Godwin Tamaklo Esquire or not a lawyer for the interested parties, Justin Amenuvo, the learned counsel or no for the respondent, the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Now arguments are raising the arguments about answering the judgment. Counsel for Mr. Forson argued, that is lawyer Gary Nimakoma, argued that the process of coalition never ended as all votes from all polling stations were not collated to produce a comprehensive result of the constituency. One of the main arguments so on council Godwin Edudzi Tamaklo said declaration was made, but counsel for Mr. Forson, that is the parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party, and then they said all the coalition, all the polling stations nina yamfa omo results ni on pink sheet but both by the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress. It's a ban saying now Timika said a declaration has been done by the Electoral Commission. He also argued that based on dispositions of Mr. Forson in his Mandamus application, that coalition at the coalition center was marred by chaos and threats, and at the same time was truncated by an attempt at continuation at Tesano Police Training School. Based on arguments, discussions, calls, Mr. Forson AEPA said a lot of threats, a lot of Nsem-Pii, a lot of would rather some also a coalition center for Tema Central. Almost also got to also a Tesano Police Station, so giddy ne could rather some to also our Tesano Police Training School. It is coalition na yes omu wie na omu de results bana eno entimi enwie pay. Now Mr. Mafo, in reliance on a letter from an official of the Electoral Commission suggesting 2 outstanding polling stations which were not added to the total tally of votes in the entire constituency, bolstered his claims with this piece of evidence deposed to by Mr. Forson. And an additional 2 polling stations or the letter character back as evidence say when it say sir the total votes of these 2 particular polling stations no Electoral Commission officer returning officer no when therefore when Timan completed the collation of the result for the Tema Central constituency. Yet also with arguments for A.B. Bright, the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate. Counsel for A.B. Bright and the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for Tema Central, an interested party in the matter, argued that there was a declaration and thus the election at the said constituency was complete and the Electoral Commission functioned official. Thus, the Electoral Commission cannot recollate and redeclare the election of the constituency. Or no say, based on his opinion, based on his observation, or GD say officials of the Electoral Commission and make certain declarations. Enti sadia untimi nkase adwuma omayewie omonsanso nkoyibiom no omonsanso recollate and sanso and redeclare. Evidence does not support this said argument and into na yehu say judgment of Justice Forson clearly akase omonfa 2 additional police stations na yede and from koka na sane yebeya ombenya the official declaration for Tema Central. Mr. Tamako suggested that per the circumstances the option left for Mr. Forson was a petition and not a mandamus application filed on his behalf. Now, decision and reasoning. And the judge's decision and reasoning will clearly fall true. Justice Forson read his full ruling in full in this application and suggested that the application of same mutatis mutandis of Ablekuma North, Okaikwe Central, and Techima North constituencies. Justice Forson, after comprehensively summarizing the arguments of counsel for all parties, offered a review of the law on supervisory powers of the court and in particular mandamus application. Justice Forson read in full his ruling in this application and suggested the application of same mutatis mutandis to Ablekuma North, Okaikwe Central, and Techima North constituencies. It means that the ruling for Tema Central must be applied mutatis mutandis to Ablekuma North, Okaikwe Central, and Techima North, based on Sir Council judgment and ruling. Justice Forson at the above. Now, Justice Forson, after comprehensively summarizing the arguments of the counsel for all parties, offered a review of the law on supervisory powers of the court and in particularly mandamus applications. Was also said, Yenfa review Embra in terms of mandamus application. Nema the court the right authorities, the right powers to rule on mandamus application and only appeal at Justice Forson as also editorial. Justice Forson, in reliance on the 2023 book on civil procedure by the learned Francisca Sewabwat, held that there are 5 conditions on mandamus, which are 1, the applicant must show that there is a duty. 2, the applicant must show further that the duty is of public nature. 3, there must be evidence of demand. 4, there is a refusal of duty by law. And 5, mandamus will be granted where there is substantial prejudice by procrastination. 5 reasons, 5 bases for which a mandamus application will be granted now by a 2023 book on civil procedure by the learned Francisca Sewa Boate, and then a Justice Forson, a relier, or this are ruling yaba. Mutatis mutandis must be applied to Okaikwe Central, Techima North, and Ablekuma North. Now, High Court judge, after spelling out the law as regard Mandamus, and with a well laid out outline of the applicable laws on supervisory powers of the court, Justice Forson moved on to apply the evidence in the Mandamus to the conditions of Mandamus. Justice Forson held that the inability of the Electoral Commission not to collate all polling stations as 2 polling stations remains outstanding, and therefore there still remains a duty to be done by the EC. And based on that, 5 conditions, or the say, there is a duty of the Electoral Commission. So, these are 2 additional polling stations. Normally, officially, I declare. Justice Forson went on to hold that there was a demand on the EC, which demand has been refused as coalition, including the outstanding 2, is yet to be done. And on the issues of procrastination, clearly, Justice Forson said there is evidence to support, say, as at now, January 4, 2025, from December 7, 2024, EC and file official results of the 2 police stations and current. Therefore, SSR duty must be done, thereby the Mandamus being granted. Justice Forson held that all other conditions were met for the grant of the Mandamus coalition and declaration at Tema Central constituency. Consequently, Justice Forson ordered the EC to collate the 2 outstanding polling stations and declare Tema Central parliamentary elections. The High Court Justice also consequently ordered the police to provide armed security for the coalition of the exercise. And a summary of the results of the High Court's ruling. Live from Accra High Court, Monsa Accra, from Nsem-Pii TV. Other lawyers' opinion. What is the essence of some mutatis mutandis or the account say it should be applied to the other 3 constituencies? Can it be concluded, say, AMPA a ruling about on the other 3 constituencies, and I say, and also subsequent ruling will come on the other 3 constituencies? We NDC Yaboko Akoje on the front of the High Court, some of the reactions say a free hop by during the expectation of the full ruling of Justice Forson, General Jurisdiction 2, on this Mandamus application.
Nelson Dapamapo, but obviously you can clearly see he's running late for court, and so he wouldn't speak to us. Having said that, I will go around and speak to 1 or 2 supporters on both sides to find out what the expectations are and why they are in court to support. And so let me speak to clearly I can see his shirt depicts the flags of the NPP, and so that would make him clear. And then let me say good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Would you tell me your name, GBC News?
My name is Labaran Brahima.
Labaran Brahima, you're in court today. What is your expectation?
My expectation is that the ruling will go in the favor of the New Patriotic Party.
How keen have you followed this matter?
I followed it from day one, from the day of the election to the coalition till we get here. I've been following the matter, yes.
And so how did it go for you, especially when the Mandamus jurisdiction was challenged by the NDC and it was ruled in your favor?
Yeah, because I knew from its inception that there is no way they can set aside the Mandamus. Although we're asking that the NPP should have come in the form of a petition, which that can only happen after the EC has done their coalition declaration and then gazetted it 21 days before you can come in with an application, election petition. But this Mandamus, as the court rightly said, it is in the right order. That's why we came in with it.
Given how upbeat you sound, what happens if the ruling didn't go for you?
Me, as I said earlier, I mentioned it on one media that I'm convinced that it will go in our favor. Why am I saying this? You know, after the election, at every polling station, every party has its reps at the police station, and you'll be given a pink sheet, which is a statement of the results. So after the election, we went straight to our secretariat. We did the tabulation, and then we realized we've won the election with 414 margin in Ablikmanov constituency in favor of Nana Epia Owusu Efriye. So as I said, I am convinced whatever will be said here is just to affirm what we already knew.
And do you have your pink sheet to confirm? Say,
we have it from it. We have 281 police stations, and as I speak to you, we have 281 pink sheets which we tabulated, and then that is how we arrive at the margin that I just mentioned to you, 414.
All right, Labran, thank you very much. I'll come back to you in a minute, but let me go to your colleague of the NDC. Good afternoon, and talk to me. Tell me your name.
Afternoon. My name is Jafar Farouk Sise.
Farouk, have you followed this case, and how long have you followed this case?
I followed the case since it was started, and we follow the proceeding up to today. But we hope that today the verdict will be in our favor, in the sense that our lawyer Edudzi has argued more than all the lawyers have argued. So we knew that today the verdict is on our side.
Right.
And moreover, since about 28 years now, Ablikmanov, we are like orphan constituency, in the sense that the NPP has dominated the constituency about 28 years ago, and there's no any improvements. There's nothing they can talk about when it comes about the constituency, about the improvement.
Farouk, you do agree that it is one thing to talk about development and it is another to talk about votes cast.
Yes, I know, but I'm just bringing this because about what he said. He was saying that they won the election. How can you win election without doing any work? They are telling us that.
But you have also stated that it has predominantly been NPP,
yes.
which goes to confirm the fact that it could also go for them. And so whether they have worked or not, right? Okay, let's move forward. First, now you have suffered a bloody nose at the first round when your preliminary objection was dismissed. How did that go for you?
The preliminary about the Mandamus application. We know that one has gone to them, and we are not worried because we know we have a very good lawyer who can stand firm and argue so that all the cases. I know when the Mandamus application was thrown out, they shown all the videos, and moreover, they show all the videos from all the constituencies, and everybody has seen it. When electoral commission was saying that they've declared the result because of they are under duress, there's no anybody who is holding a gun.
Farouk, you have spoken at length, but you have not made reference to pink sheet. Do you have your pink sheet?
Yeah, we have our pink sheet.
How many pink sheets do you have from that constituency?
We have about 286 polling stations.
And what is your tally so far?
Our tally is we have 34,456. That's what we have. You understand me? And they are claiming that they have that resource is their own, and we too we are claiming is our own because based on what we have collated, we know that we have won the elections. You understand?
So let's go forward. Today we are here in court for the ruling. It could go anyway. What happens if the ruling didn't go for you?
I hope it will go for me because I know my lawyer is a good lawyer. He has argued a lot. So as I'm here, all my expectation is that the judgment will go in favor of me. So that's what I'm expecting. I don't expect anything less than the judgment shouldn't go in favor of me. I'm expecting the judgment should go in favor of me based on our collation and our results. So based on our collation and our results, we know.
Right. Okay. Farouk, let's tilt ourselves slightly towards this way. I see what looks like a disgruntled supporter being consoled somehow to take care of himself, or being controlled somehow to calm down. Whatever this is, I'm not sure, and I would not necessarily comment on that. Let me come back to. Let me come back to. Sorry, it happens when you are on live on air, so you would have to pardon us. Let me come back to you, Labran. Labran, given that you're both saying per your tallies, you have the lead in the constituency, is it that you want to say at this point that let's leave it with the court, or what will be your alternative if it doesn't go for you?
Yes, what I would say is when you ask me question, when you ask me, I didn't mention that we have 281 polling stations, which is a fact, but he said 286. So I don't know where he got the 5 polling stations from. You see, this is how they do it too. Before you realize they've soon they do. That is how they do things. We have 281 polling stations in Ablekuma North.
On the Electoral Commission's records,
Yes, on the Electoral Commission's.
how many polling stations are you supposed to have in Ablekuma North?
281.
281.
281.
Of one.
We have tabulated. You know, we have tabulated it on the very day that we had the election at our secretariat. And then that is what I'm telling you, that we arrive at the margin of 414 in our favor. And that cannot, nothing can change that. When you asked me, he was mentioning 286. Where did he get the 5 polling stations from?
Coming from your colleague or your friend from the constituency.
Yeah.
Is it that you made a mistake, or you don't know how many polling stations?
Because they have emerged some of the polling